Hi everyone! Today
Hello.
I have a guest on my channel.
Hei, Haskatawata, mun nimi on Rafael. Olen kolumbialainen. Tulin Suomeen 8 vuotta sitten. Mä oon insinööri ja astrofyysikko. En ole ajatellut, että voisin olla täällä niin paljon aikaa. Mutta joo, elämä on hieno.
Täällä sä oot.
Joo.
Vieläkin.
Nykyään asun Vantaalla ja olen töissä tekoälyfirma.
So we're here today because you have completed the YKI exam successfully.
Yes, thank you.
So the point of this video is to chat with you for a little bit and you can tell your experience. First question I'm going to ask you is what motivated you to take the YKI exam in the first place?
To pass the requirements for the citizenship, initially I never thought that I would apply for the citizenship because I never thought that I will stay here. At one point I thought that the permanent residence was enough, but due to some changes in the geopolitical environment, I was like, okay, no, maybe I really need to get the citizenship.
To give you more security?
Yes, exactly, to have more security, to have more options in case that things get complicated.
So actually, the way that we met was how?
Italki.
Yes.
I have met a good amount of professors from the Finnish teaching community, especially what I call the new wave of professors who have Instagram and other social networks. But I was feeling like, either is a little bit pricey, or the times were not matching. So I was like, I think that once checking in Instagram your social media, and you had like this promotion of italki, and then I contact you, and then we start having these courses in italki. I like it because it's affordable, and especially in comparison to other platforms in Finland.
Basically, when you started your italki classes, we kind of discussed together to find a time that suited you.
Yes.
Because actually, I wasn't doing Thursdays back then.
My fault.
But then I started doing Thursday lessons because you requested them.
That was amazing that we could manage to fit something that was sweet for me. Because most of the time, as a student, you have to accommodate. Like, if the courses are on Mondays, that's it.
You have to take that time. And what did we do in our classes together?
It was really interesting. This book will have a lot of material, actually quite similar of what you're going to face in the YKI test. I already have attempt to prepare to pass the exam before, and it was happening that I always was passing listening and reading, and always failing speaking and writing. And I was like, this required like some more preparation, some more time for that. And I was like, it's too much time if I try to do by myself.
Yeah.
And here is when our classes were really helpful. But it was way nicer for two reasons. One, because it was mine. It was not somebody else who was selling like, answers make questions for the YKI test for 50 euros. With sentence that you are like, I will never say this.
Yeah.
It was like my own answers, with my style, with my thing.
Yeah.
But then like learning like the vocabulary and the sentences and something that I still remember when we're talking about mielipide.
Yeah.
and like when we were talking, like I love to say positive in an etu, and I go like, actually that sounds like me, like really sounds like what I would write things in either Spanish or in English, like.
Yeah.
And this is really something that I will also advise, like, be loyal to your style. Like, it's about learning a language, but it's also about being who you are in that language, because it's kind of like your own trait, like your own thing.
Part of your personality.
Yes, definitely.
And if you are interested in using italki as well, you can use the link in my description box and head over to italki to book a class with either me or any other Finnish tutor. This month I have a special discount code called CAT2 where you can get an extra €5 off of your first italki class.
What materials and resources did you use when studying for Uki?
Step-by-step guide passing the Uki test is a book that is very useful. It's in English. It gives you the guide from preparing to the exam, preparing for booking to the exam, which is quite challenging, and then the things for preparing for the exam itself. So first one that I would recommend. The second one that I have written here is from Pirjo Rantonen, Kynäkaten. This is for writing. It's kind of like a must. It sounds like you want to send an email, write this. You want to send an informal message, do this. You want to send a formal message. It's exactly what they ask in the
so
writing.
It's really drilling the writing section.
Yes, exactly. Then the next ones that I would personally advise for people thinking about the Uki test is forget about all the Suomen series. Go directly to Ukanko by Ukinko. Then there is super new and super good book that is Ukia Cocktail. It's the one that we use actually.
We used in our classes.
During our italki lessons. Italki is a resource that I will also recommend. And it allows you to go exactly what you need because not everyone has the same needs. So for example, in my case, I needed to practice a little bit the writing part. We were like kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
So I could focus with you in italki to drill with that. And finally, because sometimes in any case you have some doubts about the grammar and so on, one last book that was really helpful was the Kielo book. That was quite interesting.
Okay.
Some people recommend the Harjoitus Tekemestari, but it was a little bit too much grammar for my taste.
Yeah.
For my taste. Like some people find it really useful because it has again like some exercises that combine grammar with writing and reading. So it might be useful if you like grammar and these kind of things. But I'm not a
Depends
grammar
on your
person.
learning style.
Yes, and this is super important to mention. Like, this is your own path, this is your own way, and therefore there is not only one single way. Like, there is not a magic potion that makes you to pass the test. But yeah, definitely having these books and these materials can help you to go in the parts that you really need to.
How long did you prepare for the Uki exam, and how did you structure your study routine?
It's difficult to say because, yeah, everything counts. And at the beginning, I think that I stumbled with too many things that were not really useful, or maybe they were useful but not that efficient. Once that I got like the proper pacing and the right materials and the right strategy, it took around 1 year for me. And I'm very bad at languages. Like, I'm very smart at maths, I'm very smart in other things, but in languages, like, I'm really, really, really bad. Like, really bad. So I would say, like, probably in average can be like 7 months. Once that you have, like, as I say, like, the correct pacing, the correct material, the correct support, could be useful. And you mentioned about my schedule. So at the beginning, I wanted to have some constant input in Finnish. So I decided to watch Yle in the evening. Ei selko suomeksi.
Joo. Mutta normaalit uutiset suomeksi.
Joo. Koska, sound saa joka päivä. Pilvistä ja paljon saattaa, mutta se on helpompi ymmärtää joka päivä, jos se on tosi lähellä uutiset joka päivä. I did that for a while, and actually I still think that is a very good practice. Definitely, like, having this kind of having something to watch in Finnish was really important. The Ukinko by Ukinko were really good because the vocabulary that they offer are actually vocabulary that they have a quite high probability to be in the test. Actually, the University of Jyväskylä, they have some material that is open to all the people who want to present the test. So I was kind of listening to the exercises. They have the text So I go like, I had no idea what I said, but the puhekieli was super challenging for me. So I go like, okay, but at least here I can read what they were saying and kind of connecting like, naon, it means minaon.
Good to know.
Yes, it's like mulaon, like mulon.
Mullon.
Yeah, and I go like,
Minulla on.
yeah, I go like, I think that was around the time that I presented Uki for the first time. First time presenting the Uki is like, well, like the first time in many things. Like a lot of expectations, a lot of disappointment. But yeah, surprise, I passed reading and listening, so I knew that I had to start focusing on writing and speaking. And then I switched. I didn't want to take like normal courses because they were too much focused on grammar, and even though it's important, when you are preparing for the UKI test, it's not the best timing for that. Maybe before, maybe after. So I found this Antamiset Clinica, and luckily for me, they opened some courses. So I started taking these courses, and at that moment, they were good. They were really good. But I was a bad student, so I failed for the second time. The UKI, I again passed reading and listening. And then is when I came to this practice. Like I was having like one exercise of the writing, or the speaking. I was trying to answer by myself. I was trying to translate that in Finnish using GPT. It was not very efficient, and then it's when we met. And it really helped. It really helped because it speed out a lot what I wanted to write. So it kind of helped me to create like a skeleton. Whenever I have like an essay to say, I already have half of that in my mind. And the better thing is that I already had a structure. So it just become a matter of do it, practice, keep and repeat.
You had a pattern, so all you had to do was put the information or the theme and topic that you're writing about into your already made skeleton.
And then you were helping as a professor, checking like this part was a little bit weird or was not clear, and we were polishing and repeating and until it became kind of natural. At the end, I really like the structure. Like I think that even nowadays, if I get interviewed in the street, I think that I still have that structure in my mind.
Hyvä.
So what were the sentences that you found helpful, if you can read them from your notes?
Okay. So for example, we have this one that was really useful all the time. That was, let me read it. Tämä on Suomen yhteiskunnan negatiivinen puoli. Or it could be positive etu if it was something positive. If depending of the situation, but the idea was always to say if this topic, whatever, päte Suomen yhteiskunnassa tai taloudessa, because it also could impact if we were talking about the impact in the Finnish society or in the economy.
So then if there was that topic, you could say tämä pätee Suomen yhteiskunnassa tai taloudessa.
Yes, and depending, because for example, most of the topics will affect these general ambits, but if not, then you just take it out. But most of the topics actually kind of cover this. When we actually build like this introduction about the topic, then what was my mielestäni? What was my
mun mielestäni.
Then we were like kind of this esimerkki question or part of the test when we are giving some examples.
You had really good like structures that you created for yourself.
Maybe, yes. My nerd part, my mathematical part helped there.
Were there any specific grammar rules, vocabulary, or pronunciation issues that you found particularly tough?
My personal opinion about the grammar, you don't have time during the test even to think about it. And as many people say, they are not going to ask you grammar questions. So nobody's going in an UKI test going to ask you like, which is the competence change for this.
They're asking more practical use of the language.
Yes, it's actually fully about that. It's fully about that. The question is like, you are ill and now you have 30 seconds to tell the doctor. If you make yourself to be understood, even with grammatical mistakes, you pass. That's it. They are not going to do personalized answers or questions. So if they ask something about a school or a topic that is not usually in your life you still have to answer with something, right? So yeah, that part was a little bit tricky. And okay, pronunciation. Mulla on bakava morre. Se on myös englannin kieli ja sitten tarvitsin harjoittelemaan paljon, mitä on mun oma antaminen ja mun oma ongelmia. Ja jotain hauskaa olisi, että mun espanjalainen A ei ole espanjalainen A, mutta kolumbialainen A. Sitten jos mä sanon, mitä se on kolumbialainen A, se olisi jotain kuin A. Tämä ei ole A tai A. Se on jotain keskellä, takaisin tai edessä.
Okei, niin se on vähän vaikea.
Se oli tosi vaikea, koska ensimmäinen kerta ajattelin, että mun ongelma on A. Koska monta ulkomaalaisia tekee sama ongelma. Mutta ei, mulla oli kaksi virheitä. Ja kun A ja A, se on tosi vaikea.
Joo.
Sitten tarvitsin tehdä paljon harjoitusta. Ja mun mielestä, että jos sä voit tekee antamiset kursseja, se voisi tosi kiva tämä kieli. Enemmän kuin englantia tai italia tai japania tai espanja. Koska me kirjoitamme sama kuin me sanomme.
Joo.
Sitten jos mä voin ajatella ja kirjoittaa, en mä tiedä, yötä. Ja sitten voin katsoa täällä ja täällä.
Joo,
sama, se auttaa paljon.
Joo.
Auttaa niin paljon.
Eli jos pystyy ääntämään päässä sanan
oikein,
se auttaa tosi paljon kirjoittamisessa.
Yes, joo. Ja tämä tapahtui koetta. Että mä kirjoitin jotain, en muista mitä se oli. Mutta mä kirjoitin sitä ja ei, tämä ei ole tuota. Ja sitten sanoin.
Joo, se oli kyllä yksi vinkki, jonka annoin sulle, että jos joku näyttää vähän väärältä, sano se.
Joo.
Niin kuin
äänä se. Mutta tämä on tosi kiva, kun sä ymmärtää, mitä se on oikeassa.
Niin, se on
antamisen.
se juttu.
Joo. Koska jos ei, sitten se voi olla...
Jos se ei ole vielä sillä tasolla, niin sitten se ei kyllä auta. Niin.
Joo. There is a point when you just have to do it. Just push it. Vaan sanoa ja vaan puhua. Yes, I get it. I still nowadays I feel like, I speak so bad and people don't understand what I say, and I made so many mistakes. And even now when making this video, I'm like, I say this wrong. Probably this was the wrong ratio, and yes, probably yes. But just keep it doing. And this is the part that is like not about losing motivation, hopefully, but more about like you just have to do it. Just go blindly and don't
Power
stop.
ahead.
Yeah, don't stop until you fail. One day they have to accept that you passed.
And it worked for you.
And it worked, yeah.
So let's now talk a little bit about the actual testipäivä, the YKI-testipäivä.
Unfortunately, I have to say this in Monico because I did it several times. If this is the first time for you preparing the YKI, it's gonna be hard. Doesn't matter what, and I think that there is no way to avoid that. Though that I was a chill person and still like, I think that the night before I couldn't sleep. Everything
you
is
don't know
new.
really exactly what to expect.
Exactly, and depending on where you present the exam, probably maybe you will need to move to another city. Best advice that I could give myself after the first time was to bring food. And actually to bring my favorite food. Yeah, in my case, Colombian line in arepa. You're nervous, you're preparing, they're going to start having the writing part in 5 minutes, and you're like, this is the part that I really have to do it. You take your food, you eat, and with the belly full, you kind of feel more ready. It's long, it's a very long day. It can take between 6 to 8 hours, and then actually I think that they openly say like, be ready because the test is supposed to take between 6 and 8 hours. Be careful with your electronics. For example, your watch. because they are not allowing you to have that, not even for tracking time. So even if you have like a normal Casio watch, they're still going to ask you to take it out. So I would advise, don't bring expensive watches, don't bring expensive jewelry. At the end of the day, you will need to put it somewhere. It's going to take you stress for you. It's going to be like...
Yeah, you don't want to worry about things that...
Exactly.
Like,
exactly,
can be avoided.
Exactly, that are completely out of context. And this is important because I have seen, as I say, I presented the test several times, and every single time I saw these kind of problems. So I'm like, no, but this is an Apple Watch, how I can leave it there? What if someone steals that? No, but I have this...
You're not allowed earrings?
There was a problem with the earrings that for some reason the professor said, like, can you please remove? Oh, I think that it was because you have like a chip. It was like I actually have seen that, like, it's an earring that has like a chip on that, but it's just decoration.
Okay.
But you never know.
Right, so they really look very detailed.
Yes.
And if there's even a slightest chance something accessory could be hiding something, you have to take it off.
Yes, they are really picky on you don't having any electronic or with Wi-Fi access or whatever. So if you can avoid these things, just do it. Be ready in speaking. Everyone speaks at the same time, so it's gonna feel like a lot of noise. Best advice I can give: practice speaking with the TV on. With something in Finnish in the background, because then you are going to get used to give answers, and hopefully try to put something that you can understand.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that you get this store for whatever is sounding in the TV. You lose an item and you have to hear, and then you start hearing lompako, sormus, kun, and you are like, you have to be ready. Like, oh, what I was going to say.
Yeah,
like,
you really have to focus despite the
external noise. Yes, the writing you really have to manage to make it fast, the things that you can write fast. So if you don't know, the writing part has like a casual...
Epämuodollinen teksti is like a casual style.
Casual, yes, like a friend or something.
Yeah.
So normally this should be fast, because probably you have like this kind of thing, like, hey, let's go for a party, let's go to celebrate your birthday. You finished your job, let's go to celebrate that you finished your job. I think that speaking is always difficult, because it's...
you don't have time to think, you just have to say whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, and that's why I think that practice is the best.
And I think I remember one tip I gave you during our classes was, what you say doesn't have to be true.
True.
Because sometimes you struggled and you would stop to think too much.
True.
Because you're trying to come up with a truthful answer.
True.
And I was like, just say what comes first to mind. It doesn't have to be true, because I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. They're just testing if you can say something.
True. I think at one point I was rascal. For the sake of the answer, I was pregnant for a little while, and that's completely true. That's completely true. They're measuring your ability to answer, not if you're answering.
Yeah, if you understand the question.
Yes,
basically.
exactly.
Looking back on your whole experience of all your exams, is there anything you would do differently, and what's the biggest piece of advice or a piece of advice you would give either your past self or to anyone that's preparing?
Don't focusing too much on grammar. I think that if I could go back, I would save at least 600 days.
Wow.
Because yes, this is important, but if you know how to say some things, once that you get used to say them, it's easier to go to the grammar to understand why. And grammar is super important, and I think that you definitely need to understand the grammar before passing the YKI test. But you might be surprised how much grammar you learn, for example, just by reading every day. So nowadays, if I could go back, instead of wasting 4 hours doing exercises of grammar, or even when doing those grammar exercises, I will pay way more attention to which is the actual sentence of what is happening here.
Like the full context.
Yes, exactly. Like this Pedro Ribeiro things that were happening in Somen Mestari. Actually, the sentence on the book were way more important than if this is partitive, tai genitive, tai possessive.
I had to learn it all specifically for this channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it just sounds right.
Exactly.
And I think the more
that
like
you read.
Said, the more you read, the more you listen, the more
Yes.
you're exposed to the language,
Yes.
it'll come little by little.
Yes. And I know at the beginning, for example, reading even a Selkokiria, it feels like, oh my God. And I spent like easily 1 week in 2 pages at the beginning. And I think that it was worth it than trying to get this grammar. Because at the beginning is hard, but eventually when you finish the first book after 6 months, the second book is suddenly done in 2 months. And then you're like, oh my God, I can read almost without looking the
Progress.
yes,
Kehitystä.
GPT or
Joo.
Yeah.
Okei, no kiitos tosi paljon, kun olit mun kanavalla taas. Ja viimeinen kysymys on, mitä seuraavaksi?
Kun olin tehdä tämä preparaatio YKin testi, ajattelin, että mä haluaisin tehdä jotain, joka voisi tehdä kun koe oli valmis. Nykyään mä käytän luterilainen kirkossa ja me autamme vähän ihmisiä ja se on tosi kaunis toita. Ja mä tykkään tehdä sitä joka sunnuntaina. Ja se on tosi kiva ja teen sitä joka sunnuntaina. Sitten...
siinä sä käytät suomea.
Joo.
Näiden ihmisten
Joo, me
kanssa.
puhutaan suomea koko päivä sillä aikaa, koska he eivät puhu englantia. Tai puhuvat niin vähän
että se on vaikea.
Joo. Se on tosi vaikea heille ja me emme halua tehdä vaikeaa aikaa heille. Joo. Ja sitten tarvitsen tehdä tämä esitys.
Siis maaliskuussa?
Maaliskuussa, ei marraskuussa, mutta maaliskuussa.
Okei, joo. 2 kuukauden päästä. Sulla on esitys suomeksi.
Joo.
Hyvä.
mutta se on kiva, koska jos sä haluat vain tehdä koeta, sitten ajat mun mielestä, että se on etsua aika. Koska se ei ole hauska, jos sä haluat puhua yksi kieli ja sitten unohtaa kaikkea.
Sä oot käyttänyt niin paljon aikaa tähän, niin se olisi surullista, jos kaikki vaan.
Ja mun mielestä, että se on tosi tärkeää etsiä ja tehdä sun oma ryhmiä, kun sä voit puhua suomen kieliä. Sä voi olla kirkossa tai esimerkiksi harjoitusteksua, esimerkiksi jalkapalloryhmiä tai
ihan mitä vaan.
Mitä
itse kiinnostaa.
Ja mitä sopii sulle.
No kiitos taas tosi paljon. Jos teillä on kysymyksiä YKI-testistä, niin te voitte kirjoittaa kommentteihin ja sä voit ehkä myös auttaa vastaan niihin.
Okei.
Koska mä en itse tiedä tästä testistä niin paljon, mutta sä tiedät tosi paljon, niin jos jää jotain kysymyksiä mieleen, niin me voidaan vastata kommenteissa. Mutta kiitos tosi paljon taas.
Kiitos sulle. Toivottavasti sitä voi auttaa
Totta kai. Ja nähdään sitten.
Moi moi!